What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're working on something pretty cool this time around. Now, this isn't my car, even though I wish it was. This is a buddy of mine who goes by the name of Max. He is one of the guys I met at the track and through some mutual track friends. So what we got behind me here, this is a Datsun 280Z. At least to me it looks like a 240. He says it's a 280, but whatever. We got this older Datsun, and something interesting about it, it's got a K-swap in it. So this right here, this is a, I believe, K24 A2. Because obviously if you're going to K-swap a non-K Honda platform chassis, go big or go home, right? So this is a stock K right now. I'm not too sure on the turbo size, he told me, but I forgot. But the reason it's here is you can see it's in there. We've got a turbo, we've got a manifold, we've got a wastegate, we got an intake, we have a radiator, and we have intercooler, and we have some other goodies over there, and we got a box of stuff here. I'm going to be building basically all the fabricated stuff that we need to get this thing ready to run. So let's go over the list. Got my little list right here. We're going to be mounting the intercooler. We have to modify the intercooler to accept the charge pipe, because I'm going to show you that here in a minute when we start working on it, where we're routing it, coming through these holes here. So that's going to be pretty sweet. It's going to make for super simplified charge piping. And with the charge piping, we're finally getting to work with some titanium, do some cool titanium. And then we just needed the coupler, doing a 3-inch down pipe, as well as doing a dump pipe, water pipe with 16 AN fittings, and modifying the radiator to accept 16 AN fittings. And then we're, plugging up the valve covers, PCV port, this guy right here, because he's doing a catch can setup with the level 7 adapter and all that stuff. And then we're doing fender braces as well. So I'm going to split this video up into a couple different sections, because I want to just take some time and enjoy the work, because it's not a ton of work, but it is a pretty decent budget, and it's going to be a good time for me to do some nicer looking stuff instead of just trying to get the job done like I've had budgeted for on some other Honda swaps. So first things first, I'm going to get with mounting the intercooler and modifying it to accept the bent pieces of pipe. So we got supplied with the Treadstone intercooler. This one, I believe the core is rated for like 500-600 horsepower, which is well above his power goals. He's only shooting for like 400. So this way, this car is like perfect. I don't have two hands because this thing is really heavy, but we'll show you here in a sec. I'll set you up on the tripod, but this is going to fit perfectly in this area here. And these cutouts right here, and they have an identical one right there next to the headlight. I'm going to modify this intercooler using some Alucon aluminum, and we're just going to turn this into some 90s here, and it's going to feed in directly through there. So I'm going to try and mount this, get brackets made up, and center it up the best I can. And then once that's figured out, then I can go ahead and figure out where to modify and fit the pipes through it. And yeah, it should fit great. And from there, we're going to be doing some 2.5-inch titanium charge pipe, which is going to look really pretty, even though for now we're not anodizing it. The customer wants to wait till he figures out a color scheme for the car, but whatever. Let's get started. Definitely still heavy, but mocking up the intercooler really quick. Just pulled the hood off to get some easier access, since this tilt style hood really kind of blocked my vision. This has to go, this little bracket right here. So it's a couple of spot welds, and this is going to come off because right now it's pushing the intercooler more to the passenger side, so we can't have that. So grind that off. Got the intercooler mounted up. I used some flat strap and just made some bent brackets up here and here. So I am gonna make a nice top plate. Haven't figured out exactly the design yet, but we'll figure it out. I'm thinking something that I can weld kind of along and just do a few stitches and maybe follow the shape of this piece here. So we'll see. It'll be pretty cool. But it's at least sturdy enough for me to figure that part out. And once I get the top mount sorted, then we'll go ahead and we'll start modifying for the charge pipes. This piece here though, I want to make that look a little flashy, just because, maybe put some dimple dies in it, we'll see. And mind you, I have 5000 series aluminum here. This is 5052. This you can bend, it is malleable. If you're using like 6063, you can't bend it. You're gonna have to preheat it like crazy, and then even then you're limited on your bend range. 5000 series you can bend like 90 is just fine. Got some Rivnuts in the mail last night, well technically this morning, so now with the intercooler being all fixed up, I went ahead, took these brackets off, and I just rounded the edges because nobody likes sharp edges on anything. It just never looks good. So we can bolt this stuff back up. I unfortunately am going to be waiting on dash 16 fittings for this, as well as material for the water pipe with the fittings on that, and flanges for the downpipe and wastegate, so those will be separate videos for sure. So in the meantime, we're going to remount this intercooler, and then we're going to start on the charge pipe because I do have the titanium for that. So we do need to chop the ends off for this though, because we do have to modify it still, so should be pretty straightforward. It's going to be a really tight 90. I thought these holes were a little bit more perfect than they were, but unfortunately they're not symmetrical. That one is obviously elongated up and down, but it's also placed slightly lower in the core support than this one. So I'm gonna try my best to make it look decent, but we may have to start trimming some of the core support out, but you know, we'll figure it out when we get there. So the aluminum work is pretty much done. Just came over to use Jeff's better bead roller than my Amazon special. So we got a bead roll these two little pieces, then the aluminum work is done, minus a little bit of weld. And then I'm gonna start prepping the titanium. This is some 4-inch scrap, and I'm waiting on pie cuts to show up, and then we got some 2.5-inch. But the customer wants like a raw brushed finish, so we're gonna be using the tubing polisher. I don't have one myself, so also why we're over here. And we're gonna clean that up really good, make it look kind of nice, because raw titanium has this dullish gray color if you've never seen it, so it's kind of ugly. And he doesn't want to anodize it yet, because like I said, he doesn't know what color schemes he's going with, so we'll just polish it for now, make it look pretty.
Okay, go a little further. Give yourself the height you want.
You go like all the way in?
Nope, that's probably good. That'll give a pretty pronounced bead. Same as yours, just
a lot less rotational effort.
Yeah. Go around it twice. Usually once you get past it, almost fucking finger loosens.
Yeah, mine I usually gotta go to town with. It's so much faster and deeper than mine. Finally done. like that, we're looking pretty decent. Yeah, the polished look just looks so much cleaner with like the brush finish or whatever. At least in my opinion. Titanium pie cuts are all prepped up, so yeah, I didn't film that. It's very tedious making pie cuts. Got to sit and watch the saw, you know, and then the tube polishing, the belt sanding, the scotch brighting, like the deburring. It's a whole process, so you really get what you pay for with that kind of stuff. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark up where I already have this side marked up. I'm going to mark up on this side so I can go ahead and weld the aluminum pieces on the car. I do have to tack them off the car because this one with the bead roll, this short guy right here, goes on the end of that guy right there. So weld those together really quick since the aluminum or welder's already set up for aluminum, and then probably pull the intercooler back off, finish welding those all the way out. But actually no, I do need to tack, or I need to just keep this taped because I may have to clock that depending on how these sit. So let's figure it out. With the aluminum stuff tacked up, I'm not going to worry about the intercooler at the moment, so now we can just go ahead and start working on the titanium now that everything's kind of fixed where I think it should be. So I got it mapped out pretty well on the driver's side or the cold side. So I got two identical 45s with 1.25" long pieces. Those are going to be the parts that go into the coupler. So let me show you. All right, so we can shove this guy into the throttle body. So that way we got a good bit of a bite on the clamp. Same with this guy over here to the intercooler. And you can see that that's just about a perfect shot straight over. So I'll have to, you know, figure it out a little bit lengthwise and whatever we may need, but that's more or less basically perfectly straight shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure this, kind of tweak it a little bit, and that should work. Talk about fitment. That's held in there sheerly with just the tension between the two. That's not even tacked in place yet. So that's freaking cool. All right, so that was right on the money. I'm gonna go ahead, tack it there, mark it, tack it in that guy, and freaking rad. The annoying part about tacking stuff together is when I don't have filler rod in my hand ready to add it, it always blows a little hole, and you know, it just never wants to tack correctly. But then if I have filler rod in my hand ready to go, it's fine. It'll fusion weld just fine. It's so annoying, but we got this thing all tacked up. I'm gonna just test fit it off camera really quick just to make sure. And assuming it's good, we're gonna run over to Jeff's shop and steal his bead roller again. I need to buy his. It's like 250 bucks though compared to my $70 Amazon one. Dude, his is light years better. That Amazon one is garbage in comparison, but whatever, if this fits, we're freaking homeward bound, and it's looking like we're gonna fit. So all these pipes are gonna be pretty tight. It's gonna be one of those kind of order of operations on the couplers and tightening it, but that's what we want. We don't want a bunch of slop in there. So if you guys have never welded titanium before, it is critical to get a good finish on it because you want the weld to look as good as you can. So even though we already brushed this earlier, and I even took all the pie cuts individually to my Scotch-Brite wire wheel after, now that everything's tacked together, we got the Sharpie marks, we got, you know, just fingerprints. I'm gonna go ahead, we're Scotch-Briting this again, and then we're gonna acetone it nice and good, get it extra clean, and the weld finish is gonna come out a lot nicer. And that's also why titanium is so stinking expensive to get done, because, you know, aluminum, a lot of people say aluminum is tricky because there's so much prep that goes into it. And like, don't get me wrong, aluminum's kind of tricky, but like, it's really not that bad. But titanium though is just so sticky to weld, and it requires such attention to detail on the prep to actually get a good quality finish. So that's why this stuff is so expensive. Not to mention the material cost itself is very stinking expensive. But that looks really nice now. So we're gonna go ahead and we got our acetone, got a nice rag here, drench that down, and get all the crusties off because we don't want that. There's a fly in here bugging me. So yeah, all that crap comes off. All the brown and stuff, that's just from Scotch-Briting it. So even when you think it's clean, it probably needs to be clean more. But let's weld it out, baby. Got this halfway welded out. Still got 4 more pie cuts, and man, oh man. Dude, pie cuts really take forever to weld, especially on titanium, because you just gotta move so slow. But whatever, it's raining outside, so that's a nice change of pace. Haven't had any rain, at least that wasn't in the middle of the night for 5 minutes, really all summer. So this is really welcome to, oh, it feels so good. Like, yeah, the wind's coming this way and it's smacking me right in the face. Really wish I had my 836 here because I'd love to go slide around right now, but no, it is what it is. Had to go get gas today in the truck, welding gas, so. Oh, man, let me tell you how humid it is in this shop though. There is a swamp in my ass cheeks and Shrek is fighting over it. It is gnarly. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish this out and add the blow-off valve flange, and then we'll wrap this video up. Okay, so the charge pipe's all welded up, just test fit it. So next up is a blow-off valve, which is a nice HKS super sequential. These things are great. This is my favorite sounding modern blow-off valve, for my personal opinion. So I do want this to be a bit more open. I thought about trying to tuck it down below a little bit out of the way, but you know, we're here to make things look cool, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm thinking maybe put it up over here, because if I go over here, I still need to modify the upper port in the next video. So I'm really more leaning towards this side where it's kind of out of the way, because I think it looks pretty good right there. Because the water pipe I'm going to do is going to sit somewhere down here. So I'm going to kind of mock this up real quick and we'll make it work. All right, it looks freaking sick, and that, you know, that does wrap up the charge pipe and intercooler section of this, other than I'm just gonna come in tomorrow and weld these 2 flanges, or those 2 joints. But you guys don't really need to see that, doesn't really matter. It's already all tacked up. So I'm stoked on it. It looks great. I am beyond freaking sweaty and humid. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you wanna stick around and subscribe. I'm gonna try and squeeze, you know, probably 2 more videos out of this car, since we got some other stuff to do to it still. And you know, if you like it and you want some of it yourself, you know, hit me up. I'm Tempe, Arizona. So you local guys want to get some work done by me, hit me up on Instagram at Velocity Race Fab, or, you know, through my website, velocityracefab.com. There's inquiry stuff on there. But anyways, guys, thanks for spending some time out of your day. Do what you love, forget about the rest. Get some VRF merch on the website as well. See you in the next one. Peace out.